She oversaw the largest vaccination campaign in Toronto's history and has been leading the way in the city's drug toxicity crisis. But now, Toronto's top doctor will soon be taking on a new venture. We'll find out what that might be after announcing her resignation yesterday. Please welcome Dr. Eileen De Villa joining in studio. Thank you so much for being here.
Thank you for having me.
And congratulations are in order. I know this probably was a bit of weight lifted off your shoulders as you've probably had some conversations for some time now with colleagues, friends, family. How does it feel to have it now out in the world?
Well, you know, you're right. It was not an easy decision, but there is a certain lightness, of course, now that I'm able to speak of this. And at the same time, there's also a little bit of a sense of heaviness in that at the end of the day, while it's, you know, all good things do have to come to an end, it does mean a change in relationship and, you know, leaving behind some colleagues and people with whom I have grown very, very close.
Absolutely. In your 8 years as medical officer of health, I want to actually look at your video message yesterday because you used certain words over and over again, and I made note of it. You said grateful, an honor to serve. It was a privilege, and you really put that stamp on it. Why do you describe your time as medical officer of health like that?
Because that's how I feel. That's how I feel about public service and my opportunity to serve as this city's medical officer of health. It is a real privilege, and it has been the honor of a lifetime to serve this city in this capacity and to work with a remarkable group of people towards making this city a healthier and better place to be.
You led the city in I don't even know how to describe the pandemic anymore in these words. And it was such an uncertain time where people were looking at you for answers. And you were put under, you know, a microscope. Everything that you said, there was criticism related to that. How did you take all of that and go home at the end of the day and try to be, you know, mom, wife, medical officer of health? How do you take that all in, absorb it?
Well, you know, it's not always easy, but I kept a focus. For me, it's always about what do we need to get done? How are we going to do it? Are we staying true to our values? Are we staying true to the science? So in this case, no question, very challenging set of circumstances. New virus, still learning about it every single day, you know, at the height of the response, and figuring out how best to advise the city and the people of this city in how to protect their health and well-being. But we were focused on the evidence, focused on providing the best possible advice. And if I knew we were doing that, then I could go to bed peacefully, regardless of what people were saying, where we were doing our best. And if we were, that was all I needed to know.
Peacefully after, you know, a 20-hour day perhaps,
That's
because
right.
These were long days, long nights, and, you know, you really couldn't unplug. And so I do think that Torontonians do owe you a lot in a time that there was just nothing to try to, you know, everyone trying to wrap their head around the time. The idea of medicine paired with policy, why did you choose that route? Because a lot of people will question, why get into the position where you were when you have, I can list a number of degrees and, you know, what you've studied. Why go that path?
Well, that is actually what public health is all about, right? To my mind, you know, medicine is supposed to be about optimizing health, creating for healthy communities, and no practice of medicine, no subspecialty of medicine does that in the way that public health does. It's not about waiting for people to get sick and then treating them. It's actually about creating the conditions that make for real health right from the get-go. And that's what attracted me most and continues to inspire me about public health.
You still have 6 months left on the job. You'll be retiring officially by the end of the year. What is your priority in the next 6 months to tackle?
Well, even before the COVID pandemic, you said very much in your introduction that we were dealing with a drug toxicity epidemic and some mental health crises in our very midst. I intend to do everything I can at this point in time. This continues to be a real crisis situation in our city. There are hundreds of people who are dying preventable deaths in our city related to drug toxicity, and people who are really suffering from mental health challenges. I think we know what can be done. We've seen through COVID what can be done when we bring concerted efforts to a specific health issue or challenge, and I'd like to see us do more of that in respect of the drug toxicity epidemic and the mental health crisis we're experiencing now.
And I know you'll do a lot in the next 6 months before your departure. Let's talk about your what's next. I assume that the steps are already underway in the replacement process, or has that not begun yet?
Well, that we should hear about from the Board of Health very soon.
Okay.
I wanted to make sure that there was lots of time for them to be able to establish a search for the next medical officer of health. It's a good time for a transition. But, I think in the meantime, while I'm here, you're going to see my 125% dedicated towards serving the city and making sure that I make the most of the time that we have left together.
And what do you do next? You cited a lot of family time. You want to make sure you take a moment here before you think of the what's next, but do you already have that plan in play?
Well, certainly taking a little bit of downtime and enjoying a little bit more of life is part and parcel of the next steps. And then beyond that, looking for opportunities that are meaningful and allow me to use my skills as best as possible.
So this is not the last that we will see of you, I have a feeling, Dr. De Villa.
Well, probably not the last you'll see of me. In
Yes.
what capacity has yet to be determined, but I expect that it will be meaningful and fulfilling.
Very good. Congratulations on your announced retirement. Still 6 more months of work to do. We will talk very soon. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Melanie.
Appreciate it.